My name is Janice Holt. I live in Silsbee, just up the road or down the road, depending on which way you want to call it. Thank y'all for coming out tonight. I appreciate you taking a few minutes of your evening to come out and visit with us. I am running for state representative because I believe that my experience and the values that I have will serve me well as your representative. I have been working within the Republican Party, the Republican women, for almost 2 decades, working on getting good people elected locally, working on policy, working through the State Republican Executive Committee. I served 2 terms as your representative for Senate District 3 on that, and then I've also been with the Republican women, the Hardin County Republican women. I've been with them since 2009. I've served in every position that they have in the Hardin County Republican women. I've also served on the Texas Federation of Republican Women Board of Directors. I've been several, they have different vice presidents over different things. I've been vice president 3 different times, and also I've served on many of the committees. And then I've also served on the National Federation of Republican Women Board of Directors. We go to Washington, D.C. and meet, and we help set policy for the Republican Women Organization. But our main goal is to get good Republicans elected. That's always been our goal, and that's been my goal. Like I said, I've been doing that for 2 decades. By trade, I'm a school teacher. I taught school in Silsbee. Well, I taught 1 year in Woodville, and the rest of my time I taught in Silsbee. I quit teaching to work with my husband. My husband and I own our own business. We do indoor air purification, and we also raise cattle. We have a ranch in Jasper County, just outside of Jasper. And so we raise cattle, we raise Black Angus cattle, and they're delicious, by the way. If you've ever had Black Angus, it's good meat. And so, but then in 2014, I ran and was elected to the Silsbee School Board, and I've served on the Silsbee School Board. I still serve on that board. I've been president for the last two terms, last 2 years. In 2019, I was very honored to be selected by Governor Abbott to serve on the State Commission on Judicial Conduct. If you're not familiar with that, that is kind of the discipline arm of the judges throughout the state of Texas, anywhere from a municipal judge all the way up to the Texas Supreme Court. Nothing outside of Texas, just within Texas. And I've served on that since that time, since 2019. I've been the vice chair and I've been the secretary of the executive committee on that commission, and I do enjoy serving on that commission. My campaign has been endorsed by Governor Abbott, by Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, by Senator Ted Cruz, also the Ag Commissioner Sid Miller, and the Attorney General Ken Paxton. I am ready to work with each of those to effect good policy, to get our border sealed once and for all, and to take care of what the illegal immigrants are doing, especially over in Liberty County and Colony Ridge. There is a huge settlement over there. To be fair, there's some beautiful parts of Colony Ridge with curb guttered streets and beautiful homes, but not too far from there is something totally opposite. And so I'm ready to work with our elected officials to make sure that we clean that up and make the citizens of Liberty County and House District 18 feel safer. If you're closer you get to that, the more scared that they are over there. And it's not that far from us. It's less than an hour from us here in Hardin County, and we need to stop it. We don't need to sell our land to anybody that's not a citizen of our nation and of our state. And so we need to work towards that and make sure that that happens. Again, my name is Janice Holt. I am excited to run. We are in early voting, so that is already happening here in Hardin County and all around the district and the state. Election Day is on March the 5th. If you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer them, and I look forward to earning your vote. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Stephen Missick. I have a ranch in Shepherd, Texas. I pastor a church, King of Saints, in Cleveland, Texas. I've lived in that area for 30 years, developing the ranch for agriculture. And of course, my primary focus is preaching the gospel and doing Bible teaching. I'm a veteran. I've served 30 years in the military. I have 2 deployments to Iraq. I went to Iraq in the very beginning, 2003 and 4, and then at the end of Operation Iraqi Freedom, 2009 and 10, went back. The first time I went to Iraq, I went as combatant. You can see me in that picture carrying my M16. We don't use M16s anymore. We use M4s, say. They gone from a rifle to a carbine. But after I got back, a few years later, I decided to go into the chaplaincy. So I went to Sam Houston State University for my bachelor's degree, and I got a master's divinity from Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary, and I went and I got a doctorate from Houston Graduate School of Theology. I have worked in education as well, and the biggest issue we're facing now as a country is the open border. I served in the border mission for 4 years, and as a chaplain, I care about my soldiers, so I would go and visit them often at their workplaces and see how they're doing, check on their welfare. And eventually, I've been all across the border. A lot of these hot spots, Eagle Pass, Del Rio. Most of the time I was working at the Valley, which is Brownsville, McAllen area. But I've been all across the border from Brownsville to El Paso. And I saw policies on the border that don't work, and I've seen policies that do work. And we need to be doing more to secure our border. And we need to have, I'm happy to see that legislation is passed moving that direction, but we need to do more. I also want to mention that I support President Donald Trump and his Make America Great Again agenda, and I saw chaos on the border. I saw him implement his border policy, and the barrage of these migrant caravans reduced to just a small amount every day, from the thousands to just a few dozen. It can be fixed. I also believe that the Democrat Party, not what it was in the time of your grandparents. It's a radical left-wing party. Our nation's in trouble. We need conservative champions to stand up for our Constitution and our biblical and Christian values. I'm concerned about the future of this country. And we need people who will fight for the principles we have in our Republican Party platform. I believe conservatism works. And it helps everybody. Conservative principles that protects our cherished freedoms, but also creates opportunities, like I said, for all Americans of all ethnicities and racial backgrounds. And that's what you should, as Christians, want to seek the benefit of all people and strengthen our nation. Because I believe in America, and I believe America should be and can be again a shining example to the rest of the world. But we need to fight for America. We need courageous, bold fighters in the Republican Party, in the State House, advancing conservatism. I've also written several books. Most of my books are about biblical subjects. I wrote a book about the language of Jesus. I wrote a book about the 12 apostles, about St. Jude Thaddeus. So, got a big background there, but the biggest thing I've done, of course, to me is, being a servant of Jesus Christ and preaching the Bible. And I think that it's important for Christians to be involved. So, we need to get out and vote. This is a pivotal election. And I think that the future of our country depends on conservatives getting organized and voting to save America and to make America great again. So we need to encourage people to go out and engage the process and get involved so we can turn things around.
You have 1 minute.
All right. Things look dark. I'll close that. Things look dark right now, but I believe and I have faith in America. I have faith in the American people, and I believe that we're going to be able to restore American greatness again. So I'm going to ask everyone to vote for me so I can continue to serve as I have my life in the military. Now I want to serve in state governments. So thank you, and God bless you.
Take the next one too?
Let's get everybody.
Okay.
Let's be fair.
Okay.
My name is Terrenos Bailes. I'm a state representative here in House District 18. I've had the opportunity to serve this capacity for 4 terms. I'll be 100% frank with you. If you want someone who has lived their life for politics, I'm not the guy. I'm a working class guy. I still have my own business. That is very important. The two biggest titles that I have in life is not what I've been named in any committee. It's not any club that I've served in. It is being Miss Bailes' husband and Cinco Enrique's dad. This is an opportunity to serve. I bust my butt to make sure I do the absolute best job to represent this district each and every day I'm in Austin. Whenever opportunity I get, I come right back home. So this is where I need to be. So I've had opportunity. I serve on the House Energy Committee. We oversee the oil and gas industry. We're the 7th largest country in the world. That's a good opportunity to be able to have a say in how that process works. And also on the CRT committee, which is not the CRT we hear in the news. It's Culture, Rec, and Tourism. We oversee State Parks and Wildlife. So in those two capacities, we spent more time in Austin than we have ever been in the state of Texas. 245 days. This job is 140 days every other spring, and it pays negative $2,300 a year after I pay for the health insurance for my wife and my 2 little ones. So it makes it awfully fun when you get to serve 245 days, still work full time, because that's important. The legislature was designed so you have working class individuals who can step away from their business, serve, and then go right back home. The last thing this process was ever designed is to have full-time politicians. It's to have men and women who can step away, serve their community, and then go back home. As far as the border goes, we passed the biggest border security package that has ever been passed in the history of the United States by any state. $5 billion. 100 walls of Trump's wall. We also put laws in place where local law enforcement can also enforce immigration. We have it where judges can now issue orders of deportation, and also our federal law enforcement can uphold state laws. A lot of the federal guys, they're still Texans too. And if they see issues, they have had to turn a blind eye because it broke a state law, not a federal law. Is it enough? Not at all. Is it effective under the current administration? Very little. The most important thing, we have to have support from the federal level, and we're not getting that. We as taxpayers are picking up the tab to secure our southern border, and that should not be the case. So we put the laws in place. God willing, we will have new leadership in the White House, and we will have leadership who loves America, and thus will help us protect our southern border. Politics right now has become so divisive, it should never be that way. There are millions of dollars being pumped into this district by out-of-state interests in order to buy this seat. The largest contribution which has ever been received in the state of Texas came from a billionaire in Pennsylvania, who's one of the earlier investors of TikTok. And there's 8 individuals to be replaced, and I'm one of those 8. Those are all rural guys who are willing to buck the system of the go along to get along and play politics as usual. That is why I'm worked against by Governor Abbott. I was endorsed last session and the session before by our governor. We voted every single thing. School vouchers was the one we had a disagreement on. I was one of the last ones he endorsed against. It was a direct result of $6 million that was given with the directive that you need to get these 8 people out. That same individual was also given $3.3 million for all the mailers and the commercials you guys are seeing. So I want to close with this. We have an opportunity in this election to make sure that we elect a voice that is our own, and we can let that voice be bought by billionaires from out of state. It's important to go vote. Appreciate the opportunity. If I can answer any questions, I'm glad to be here. Appreciate you guys coming out.
Drugs, crime, foreclosures. The Colony Ridge development is a huge problem. Even Representative Ernest Bailes agrees.
Colony Ridge is a huge problem.
What Bailes isn't telling you? He wrote the bill creating Colony Ridge and took thousands of dollars from its lobbyist. Now there's a federal investigation. For Texas, the bigger problem is Bailes. It's time to bail on Bailes. Early vote starting February 20th. Election day is March 5th.
I wanted to quickly answer a question about Colony Ridge, Terrenos Houston. And I've been tracking the issue with Colony Ridge from the beginning almost, probably, when did it start? 2013, but it started really attracting attention of the community with a lot of abuses and outrages going on there around 2015. Of course, when it was first going on, we just called it Plum Grove. I did campaign on the issue of Colony Ridge when I ran in 2020. Now, Janice Holt's is campaigning on the issue of Colony Ridge, which shows that now that the public is aware of what's going on and how big it is and how large it's expected to grow. And I really feel like Colony Ridge is on Ernest Bailes because he codified Colony Ridge and bestowed special privileges upon them through House Bill 4341. And there's a lot of problems with Colony Ridge, crime, sex trafficking, prostitution. Just the environmental devastation. I think there's a public interest in confronting the issue of Colony Ridge. And we have these two brothers, John and Trey Harris, and what they've done and how they've been held unaccountable. There's a violation of the regulations. The thing's not built up to standard. The roads are already failing. So is the whole drainage system. And there is a nicer area. And I know people that live in that nicer area. But it's like a Potemkin village, which is, look at what a Potemkin village is. Potemkin village is like, you have these communist countries where people live in squalor, like North Korea. All right, so people go visit North Korea and they have like an artificial village they created to create a false perception of how the people really live. And so there is a nice area of Colony Ridge, but a lot of it's shantytown. People live in squalor. And I've been there. I heard stories. And the first time I actually went around and looked at these communities was in 2022 when I was campaigning. Of course, I've told the story in one of the debates how we would hear stories about Colony Ridge at the Ministerial Alliance meetings, people complaining about people living in shanties, in huts and tents, just absolute, third world, poverty, extreme poverty, and these people living in such deprivations. And then prostitution, drug running, gun running, people seeing what's going on, very, very concerned about it. And then, Ernest Bailes comes and says, I don't want you to worry about Colony Ridge anymore because I've made it legal. I said, what was he talking about? And of course, Kim Paxton looked into it, and it was HB 4341. So this issue is the primary concern. If you look at our community, House District 18. The biggest issue we're facing as a community is Colony Ridge. It's gotten out of control. It's still, it kind of amazes me is here you have the federal government doing investigations in Colony Ridge and filing lawsuits against John and Trey Harris and the Colony Ridge development for exploiting people, deceptive, just everything, all these ITIN loans and scamming people out, 33% eviction. There's just all kinds of outrages going on with Colony Ridge. And they're still rolling on. And a lot of what's going on here is because of the people in local government in Liberty County and around the area. There are people who want Colony Ridge. What are their motivations for that to happen? There's power in a higher population. And I heard the school superintendent himself say, well, it's better to have growth, even though this is drastic growth. It's better for us to have growth than be in decline. But this is not serving the best interests of our community. It's not even serving the best interests of the people who are residing in Colony Ridge. Of course, I work the border, and I want border security, and I think we need to have immigration enforcement. And I think after an open border for 3 years and millions upon millions, tens of millions of people just streaming across our border, we're going to have to confront that issue and have some deportations at the very least. But yet that doesn't give John and Trey Harris the right to deceive and exploit these people, as the Department of Justice has found that they have. So what will happen when I get it? I think I'm better. Of course, I believe that Ernest Bailes created the problem of Colony Ridge. He's not. It's either by design, which I believe it is. I believe that they do want to grow this community to 250,000 people. It's either by design or it's by incompetence. And Bailes says, well, I'm the only one that put regulations, restrictions on it. What restrictions? What restrictions? So the problem with Ernest Bailes is either it's by design or incompetence. So has not dealt with the issue of Colony Ridge. He's helped them with this legislation, bestowing special privileges and protections and empowerment on them to make Colony Ridge grow to what it is now. I don't think it would have happened without HB 4341. So he hasn't dealt with it. And the problem is, beyond that, the thing with Janice Holt, and I don't think Janice Holt's going to be able to tackle the issue of Colony Ridge effectively either. Now, why would I say that? Well, first off, she lives an hour and 15 minutes in Silsbee. That's far away from this issue. And I've been dealing with it, and aware of it and opposing it for years, and been outraged by it and following the story. And like I said, I've gone in that community, actually explored it. And the first time I actually went in there, and besides going down Plum Grove Road, I would do that. Go to Splendor in the back road. I used to live on Plum Grove Road. See, that's the thing. It's like, this is in my backyard. For her, this is more of a distant problem. And there's this conversation that was recorded with Ernest Bailes, and he's talking about Governor Abbott's, well, we know this. This is a matter of public record that John and Trey Harris have apparently, well, it's documented, hundreds of thousands of dollars, perhaps, was it $1.2 million that John and Trey Harris gave to the governor. So the governor has the legal authority to enforce the law. He's the chief law enforcement agent, ultimately. That'd be Kim Paxton and the governor. And he can do more. He should be punting this to the House. Governor Abbott needs to take decisive action himself. He has the means to do it. He has the administrative power to tackle the issue of Colony Ridge. So you have to think that what did they buy? What did John and Trey Harris buy? Influence or protection with this? I really think that we should ask questions of Governor Abbott about that. And I think that Governor Abbott needs to return the money that he received from Colony Ridge from John and Trey Harris. Just give it back to them, and then hold these two people. I think that there needs to be a criminal investigation, and if they have committed any crimes, I believe they have, they should be prosecuted, not just have a lawsuit against them, but I think they should face criminal prosecution for what they've done to our community, harming our community. Like I say, when I campaign, I talk to people, and there's people that they don't want to, they feel like they have to leave. They have to. It's like, this isn't a safe community anymore. It's not the kind of community I want to raise my kids. And these are families that have lived here for generations, and now they feel compelled to leave. And this is because this is the result of the misadministration by local officials, but also by Ernest Bailes. So I think I'm better equipped. Of course, Ernest Bailes created the problem, and Janice Holt, she's got the Republican establishment, the governor giving her money and endorsements and campaigning for her, and the governor seems to have some kind of involvement, which he shouldn't have, in Colony Ridge, and he's not taking decisive action against Colony Ridge. It shouldn't go to the state legislature. We should. There's things we can do. If I get elected, when I get elected, I'm going to repeal HB 4341. I'm just going to get rid of it. All the special protections and privileges that have been bestowed by Ernest Bailes on John and Trey Harris to do the Colony Ridge scam are going to be taken away. And we're going to put an end to this. And the environmental damage, the abuse of the local community, the abuse of the people who have set them. Not all of them are illegal aliens. Most of them are, but some of them they're Hispanics almost exclusively. But we have Hispanic Americans who are being discriminated against and exploited by John and Trey Harris. So Ernest Bailes created the problem, or he's done nothing to bring accountability to Colony Ridge. And then we have Janice Holt, who's beholden to the governor, who's somehow involved. It's bad optics at the very least. I think, like I said, we need to ask Governor Abbott some questions about Colony Ridge, Terrenos Houston, and we need to see decisive action taken by the governor. If he's not going to do it, we need to have a new legislator who's going to stand up against the powers that be in the interest of the citizens of this House district, the people that have lived here, not putting John and Trey Harris' interest or the interest of whether they're conspiracy or designs, whatever it is, but the needs and interests of our community and the citizens that live here, and seek the general welfare, the good of the people, of everybody. And Colony Ridge is not in the interest of anybody, really, that cares about the community and wants to see all people treated right. So if you want decisive action taken against Colony Ridge, I'm the most qualified to do that. Ernest Bailes created the problem. Janice Holt wasn't talking about the problem 2 years ago the way I have been the whole time, and she hasn't been following it since the beginning the way I have been. And I'm outraged by it, and I want to end it. Now she's all talking, beating the drum of Colony Ridge. What's going to happen when, she's going to be kept on a leash by Governor Abbott? She's only going to take action against Colony Ridge within the perimeter set by the governor, who she's beholden to. I'm not beholden to the governor. I'm beholden to the people of this House district, and I'm going to fight for their interests and their rights. And we're going to work to close down Colony Ridge and at least to bring accountability to them and stop its growth. Just arrest it in its tracks and then force it. It's going to probably cost them tens of millions of dollars to repair the environmental devastation and repair the roads and infrastructure. Make them pay for the damage they did. Just like I want to close with this. Ernest Bailes says, well, I approved, tens of millions of dollars for security. Well, the security issues, John Trey Harris created these problems. They need to pay for them. They need to finance that. And I was afraid when that was going to happen, when that happened. First off, we had this big, hearing on Colony Ridge. Nothing comes of it. Nothing. They don't really address in a significant, serious way any of the real issues at Colony Ridge. It's a big dog and pony show. So what are they going to do? They're actually admitting there's a security problem by saying we're going to send, state troopers and all out there. But they said $40 million or so towards security in Colony Ridge. Where's that money at? You talk to constables and police officers who work out there, and they say they haven't seen one red cent. I knew that was going to happen. I was afraid it's like they're gonna throw money at it. All that money is just going to vanish. It's going to be misappropriated. And it seems like that's the case. But Ernest Bailes said, "Oh, I voted to approve, $20 million or $40 million, however much it was, for security in Colony Ridge." But it's not being really, nothing serious has been done about Colony Ridge. It's a great disservice and failure to the people. And I care about the people. I was talking to somebody who was campaigning today. So you got Ernest Bailes. He's a wealthy rancher. You got Janice Holt. She's a connected politician. And this woman says, we need somebody like you, Dr. Missick, a man of the people, somebody not of means and wealth and prestige and privilege or part of a good old boys club, but somebody that cares about the common people and their needs. And that's what I do care about, people and their needs. And I want to, I believe in righteousness and justice and goodness and doing the right thing. And that means standing up against people abusing this community or hurting our community. I will stand up to defend the people and hold those who've been hurting our community answerable and accountable. So Colony Ridge, it's like, well, why is Ernest Bailes supporting Colony Ridge? There's probably many, many reasons. Like I said, the people, the rank and file citizens and ordinary people of Cleveland and in this area, they don't want that. I mean, who in their right mind would? But people in governance here, some of them do want it, like the school superintendent and others. They want to build schools. Maybe they get to cut somehow. They don't really care about the negative effects. They want their piece of the pie. And we need to put the needs of our people and our community and our future first. We need to create a positive and good future for our community. And that's not, I don't want to see our community turn into Colony Ridge. I'm afraid it's going to take over the entire House district. And we're going to live in a third world shantytown controlled by the Mexican drug cartels. I don't want to live in that type of community. I want to prevent that and do everything in my power to prevent that from happening. And that's why you should vote for Dr. Missick, the person who will take serious action against Colony Ridge, and then hold these people who have created this problem accountable for what they've done to harm our community. So, thank you.
Couldn't complete the job, they want to complete the job, so your precinct chairs, which are elected directly by you, elected me to do the job. I got the job in September, and if you know anything about the chairman job, that's when the work starts. So, immediately started processing candidates. Then we moved right into, we had a constitutional election that, as a Republican, we have to facilitate all the voting. So we get the judges together, we get the clerks together, and then once all the candidates are processed, then you gotta build a ballot. You gotta proof the ballot. You gotta order all supplies. Then you gotta get everybody back from that last election back in the mode, get them retrained for this election. So that's what we're doing now. And then we have the early ballot board. So it's a lot of work. I think some people think that this job is like a figurehead job. Kent Batman and Robin Perez did a great job for 18 years for Hardin County. That's a good reason why we're all Republicans. But they made it look easy, and it's not easy. They did a great job. Since I've been chairman, I've streamlined the paperwork for the presiding judges. All the paperwork used to come in what was called a pizza box, and it was just handed to them, and they got to kind of pick which form to pick out. So we said no more. Shirley and I, along with the judge, the Democrat chair, and the county clerk, we formed an election administrator. So we have one person now that is directly responsible for that. And we oversee that person. She's doing a great job, by the way. I've been in the Hardin County Republican mechanism for I think about 12 years now. Been to state conventions, been on platform committee. Someone talked earlier about the state platform. I was on that committee last session, and there was a big move to take a lot of things out of it that are core principles, and we held the line. We got text halfway through it, and people were saying, "You're taking God out of the platform," and that certainly wasn't happening. It didn't happen. We did shrink the platform just because some of the stuff was outdated. Some of the stuff had already been passed by the legislature. So this is a job that Mr. Bailes said, it's a negative paying job. This is a negative paying job. It's $150 for 2 years. So after all the time it's spent back and forth, it's a negative paying job. So you absolutely do it out of a heart of service. So I'm enjoying the job. It's a busy job, and I want to keep doing it. So I would appreciate your vote. Tony Robertson, thank you.
I'm Saratoga, but I feel like I was born and raised here. I used to come here every Easter. Uncle Bubba and Sissy's Easter egg hunt, and so I had a lot of memories growing up here in South Saratoga. It can't hurt that the father of Saratoga, George Jones, was born and raised right here. So that's always a positive thing. So I love going through this area. It's obviously very important to my family. I got a number of my aunts and cousins and surrogate aunts that I still call family that are here as well. And my name is Dr. Nat, like I said earlier. I'm born and raised right here in Southeast Texas. I'm in Lumberton. So I'm city council for 18 years. Familiar with Shirley and all the other elected officials here. I was an old school guy. I was a guy that ran the first time as a state representative. My grandfather, Willie Price, Burnett, he lived in Boatall. If you remember, he had that old big Chevrolet truck. And I was the only Republican to ever have a sticker on that truck. Am I wrong or not? He didn't allow any other Republican. He was a Democrat. He was a yellow dog Democrat. You couldn't be on that county unless you were the yellow dog Democrat. And I was proud. I had an R beside my name when it wasn't cool to be having an R beside your name. And so I've always enjoyed that. Enjoyed politics. I started at a young age. Ken Pelt was the first person that kind of took me under his wing many years ago. In his first office, I helped him out, and he came to me and I spoke at my event, and he said, "Don, I'm paying you back 35 years of friendship and 35 years of working for our party to get it to where it is today." And that's very important. And somebody asked me, "Why are you running?" Well, I understand that one of the reasons I got me involved with this is that when I found out that at the last convention there was a platform, I think Tony talked about it a little bit earlier, a platform to take away this right to vote for this position. They don't want this position to be elected. They don't think the voters of Hardin County, the voters of Saratoga, are smart enough or intelligent enough to pick this person. They want that person to be chosen by the executive committee. That's wrong. This person, that fundamental right to vote is our most precious right I think we have. When you take away that right, you take away not only the right to elect the person we want, but more importantly, you take away that right for accountability. For that person is in office, because if they're not doing their job, then you vote them out. But if that person is appointed by an inner circle of a group of people, and that's who's going to be doing it, you're going to memorize the complete characteristics, in my opinion, of what the platform should be. I'm a hard worker. Anyone knows me knows that when I'm all in, I'm all in. And I served on the Lions Club board for 30 years, the Chamber of Commerce in Lumberton for 30 years, the 100 Club for 25 years. If you know anything about Don Burnett, you know he's a worker. And he's a hard worker, and I promise you this, I'll get the job done, and I'll make sure it happens. Again, I'm born and raised here my entire life. I look forward to having the position. getting the party back together. I've supported the candidates that many of y'all know, Judge Caraway, Judge Cummings, who was my neighbor for many, many years, as a JP there, Judge Mitten, Judge McDaniels. I mean, all those folks I call friends. And
For those of y'all that don't know me, I'm Steve Smith, and I'm campaigning to be the next tax assessor collector here in Hardin County. I'm really excited to be here. I appreciate the city inviting us out. I've been looking forward to this since I first made the decision to run for the office. There's a lot to think about. I've got really big shoes to fill. Shirley Cook's done an outstanding job, and she set the bar high. But I'm looking forward to moving on and trying to improve or at least maintain what she's done. Personally, I grew up in Holt County. I left there. I ended up down in Jefferson County, Lamar University, earned a bachelor's in business administration, and basically worked in several different industries until 16 years ago when I went to work for the law firm of McCreary, Suffolk, Bragg, and Allen. And what we do is we collect delinquent property taxes. We collect delinquent property taxes for all the taxing units in Hardin County with the exception of Silsbee ISD. Familiar with all aspects of delinquent property tax collection, from anything from strongly worded letters to tax lawsuits, or stand next to Sheriff Davis when he auctions off somebody's property when they've been unable to or unwilling to pay their taxes. More importantly than that, I've also had the opportunity to help countless taxpayers work their way through their situation, arrange payout agreements, make sure they have the exemptions that they're entitled to in place, and just work their way back to good standing with their tax bills. It's been a fantastic learning experience, and I feel like it's really prepared me for the job that's here to come. At the current time, I live out north of Coonsland Ranch. Like everybody else, my cattle are imaginary. I haven't actually bought them yet, but we're gonna get there. And I'm just excited about what's to come. When I started thinking seriously about this, I started working closer with Shirley Cook, and she allowed me to step into the tax calculation process, truth and taxation. Every year in the summer, I familiarized myself with that process over the last 4 years. And then I began taking the courses that require me to be certified to be a tax assessor collector here in the state of Texas. I'm not yet certified. I plan on having that done by the time I take office on January the 1st of this year. People have asked me, what do you plan on doing when you take office, Steve? And the answer is, I've got a few ideas that I'm going to try to implement that will make a visit to the tax office a little more streamlined, a little more straightforward, get in, get out. But the main thing I'm going to do is try to have just a seamless transition from Shirley Cook to myself. We kind of enjoyed that years ago. I want to make sure the same thing happens. I'm on a first name basis with all the staff. I expect Lisa Finn from over here in Batson to stay on as chief deputy. She's going to help me through the process. But the main thing is we're not going to rock the boat, and more importantly, the tax office enjoyed a reputation here in Hardin County for fairness and honesty under Shirley Cook and Shirley Stevens before her. And that's something I'm going to work tirelessly to make sure we maintain, is that people know they're getting a fair deal and an honest answer when they come to the tax office. That's what I'm looking forward to doing. People have asked me, Steve, why are you putting out signs? You don't even have an opponent. And the answer is this: a lot of people don't know me. We're learning, we're meeting new people along the way. But if I'm willing to work this hard when it's in the bag, I plan on working just as hard at anything I do. I'll be working that hard as a tax assessor, earn your trust, and do a good job for you. I know I've probably got 4.5 minutes left. It feels like I'm rushed. If anybody has any questions, I'll take them.